Hi everyone, welcome to August setup in my bullet journal. This month I've decided to go with a Witchy Night theme based around these lovely night sky stickers that I found in my collection, as well as the Lunar Delivery stickers and some of the stickers that came with the notebook therapy travel journal that was also a lunar something journal. I can't remember off the top of my head. But this month, the quote for my journal is "Disbelief in magic can force a poor soul into believing in government and business." And if that doesn't fit the way of the world at the moment, I don't know what does. The font I'm going to be using for this setup is called Aesthetic Beauty from Font Space, as per usual. And all of my header fonts will be in the Smoke Blue Acrylograph from Archer and Olive. It's one of the glittering ones that came in the Spectacular sub box. Since night and celestial things and anything shimmery is right up my wheelhouse, I have a lot of washi that is going to fit with this theme, but I decided to go with this text one that had some moons on it. The text is "Shine on, Moon Dreamer, and give me some space," which I thought was kind of funny. And I'm also going to be using a purple washi that has the phases of the moon on it. The washi with the text on it is kind of holographic, but the purple one is just matte. And speaking of washi I have lots of, I'm also going to be using the Notebook Therapy Lunar Mystery Moon Phases washi that has silver on it, but I'm only going to be using that sparingly as a decoration instead of a washi. The big window stickers are from Journalsay. They are the Starry Sky windowsill stickers. They are PET and they came in a pack of 10. I don't know if they're still on Journalsay or not. I've had these in my collection for quite a while. I'm also cutting out some of the stickers that came with the La Lune Tsuki Traveler's Notebook, as well as a couple of other pages that came with the Traveler's Notebook as well. But because I'm not sure of how many of these stickers I'm going to be able to use throughout the entire setup, I'm going to be doing a lot of decorating at the end. For right now, I'm going to be setting up my content dashboard, and I'm going to notice fairly quickly that the Ohuhu marker that I'm trying to use is a little bit dried out. Once I figure that out and decide to stop making myself suffer, I'm going to put this in a cup so that it can stand the way that I need it to stand to make all of the ink travel towards the bottom of the pen. But I will be doing my August header in the meantime while my marker is rejuicing. For my barely visible lines, I've gone with the Sakura Pigma Micron 05 in the very light gray. And the Smoke Blue Acrylograph from Archer and Olive has made its appearance again for my headers. Right now I'm just doing an initial for each of the days of the week so that I know which days are which when I use this small calendar. And a theme would not be theming unless your elements all kind of tie together, so I'm going to be adding washi on the top and bottom of this spread as well. And doing some corner trimming off camera so that they are nice on the edges. After leaving my Ohuhu marker upside down for several hours, I was able to complete the every other line highlight much more successfully once it had not dried out. This barely there pink or pinky purple is the 137 in the Ohuhu markers. And then of course decoration was a must for this spread as well. And I actually remembered that my sticker tweezers existed, but I'm going to be very unhappy with how I placed the washi, and I decided to move it anyway. For the numbers on my calendar, since the Sakura Pigma Micron I picked was barely visible, I decided to go with the gold gel pen that I got in one of my Archer and Olive subscription boxes. And to give you guys some idea of how I actually use this dashboard, I decided to actually fill in some of the icons that you guys usually wouldn't see for this spread. But that brings us to my habits, mood, and weather tracking pages. I'm going to start with the washi on this spread. I've got a lot of drawing to do with the Sakura Pigma Micron, since I've decided to do a bookshelf mood tracker. There's some very cute little books that are included with the Lunar Delivery Notebook Therapy sticker set, and this I felt tied in quite nicely with the overall theme. So I have 31 books on these shelves, and I've tried to differentiate the books enough on each shelf that each shelf is unique in some way. And I'm going to be using another Ohuhu marker to create the floating shelves that these books are going to be on. I did try to pick a slightly darker Ohuhu brown as well to try to add some detail on those shelves, but I think I picked too dark of a brown to begin with. Next, I'm going to be creating my habit trackers and my weather tracker just using the mini calendars that I love so much. I find that using the mini calendars is way more effective for myself than any other habit tracker that I might use. So the mini calendars appear a lot in my journals. But once all of the erasing is done, I'm going to do the headers, again with the smoky blue acrylograph from Archer and Olive. And you can really see the shimmer and glitter that's in this one. Also, thankfully, this one sticker set that came with the Laloon Notebook Therapy Journal had some weather that I actually track. So I grabbed some of those stickers to use instead of doing my little mini icons that I will usually draw. And then I'm just going to be adding this purple lunar washi tape. I'm trying so hard not to over decorate these spreads because I know that I have a limited number of stickers to go with this. So for now, I'm moving on to my media stats and notes pages. Each month I track all of the media that I watch, whether that is TV shows, YouTube videos, or movies. They all get written down on my media page. And then the stats are just some personal stats that I track month to month, such as average ounces of water drank, average number of steps taken, average hours of sleep every night, as well as some social media stats just for my own personal use. The Lunar Delivery sticker set came with this little notes sticker, and I was over the moon to be able to use it on a spread like this. I don't usually include a notes section on my weeklies, so being able to use it here was really great. As well as trying to find the night sky sticker that best reflected the media page. Once again, moving right along to the meals tracker. This spread takes a little bit to get used to setting up, but essentially all you have to do is count 5 dot grid spaces from the bottom of your page and continue counting every 5 dot grid spaces to get your rows. And then the columns are 3 dot grid spaces from the edge of the page, and then 8 dot grid spaces, 8 dot grid spaces, and then the remainder for the final column. This will give you a space to do the initial for the day and the number for the day, as well as a space for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't really use this for planning per se. I have a meal planning app that I use for meal planning, as well as a grocery list in the same app. So this really gets utilized the most when the meal planning goes a little bit awry. For example, we don't always have things on the nights that we originally say we're going to have things on, and then it just works out a little bit easier for leftovers if I consult my journal on when we actually had that meal. And then again, I will be using the gold gel pen from Arch and Olive that I got in one of the subscription boxes for the numbers of the days. I'm trying so hard to squeeze in as many elements on this very small section for decoration as I possibly can, so that the theme continues to theme. And occasionally cutting out these lunar phases off of this washi tape was a little bit tricky. They have each of the phases written out next to the phase, so it gets a little iffy occasionally. Because August starts on a Saturday and I like to keep all of the days of a month together, this weekly actually has 8 daily boxes in it, and I've decided to make it a Dutch door. I've also decided to use the columns layout because I need to make the first day box include meal tracking. So each of the boxes is 8 dot grid spaces wide with a dot grid space in between them, and they are 19 dot grid spaces tall. For the first, the last 3 dot grid spaces, and then another 3 dot grid spaces, and another 3 dot grid spaces are going to be the meal tracking for the first. And I know it's a little hard to see because this gray is so light, but it does show up in person. It's just not super noticeable on camera. But once again, I will put the washi on the top and bottom of each of these pages, and then round off the corners off camera, and add the night sky stickers and my purple washi, so that I have all the elements of the theme displayed on the pages. Occasionally I have to remind myself of what my actual plan was with some of these stickers, because I get a little lost. And once again, these sticker sheets are absolutely a lifesaver. For the first week of August, there's enough stickers to do the first 7 days with little day header stickers, and I'm going to try to do my best to replicate that for the 8th. It doesn't work out super great for me. I struggled a lot with the 8th. I could not get the correct color. I then had to figure out how to make that show up again. My gel pen didn't work super great. I had to get my acrylic markers. It was a whole thing. I 10 out of 10 do not recommend to a friend. But the spread actually turned out really, really cute in the end. But I'll come back and finish decorating that later. For the second weekly of August, I've just gone with rose, and I'm going to leave some space on the edges for decoration. So it's technically a spread that I call rose on rose. You have 4 rows that then have columns on the edges that you can use for decoration or what have you. Gosh, that glitter is just really crazy at the moment. I promise it's not that crazy in person, but sometimes the light that I use for recording just hits it the right way and makes it go crazy. But if you want to recreate this spread for yourself, each of the rows is 9 dot grid spaces wide. That will give you 8 dot grid spaces, or 8 planning spaces overall. I've used one of those planning spaces for the August header, which gives me 7 actual daily spaces. And as promised, I'm going to be doing a little bit of decorating on the edges of this page. Once again, I'm trying to be a little bit sparing with the decorations because I don't actually know how far these stickers are going to get me at this point, and I want to make sure that each page has the appropriate amount of decoration on it and that I don't have to go and find other stickers that are in my collection that will work with this. So for now, that's it for that weekly. The third August weekly is a spread that I like to call Days and Tasks. So you have 7 spaces for your days of the week, and then you have a leftover space for your tasks, as well as a small space for your header. Since you want to try to fit 5 spaces on one side of the page, and then 2 spaces on the other side with your big remainder for your to-do list, the measurements are as follows: 7 dot grid spaces each for the 5 side, and the 7 dot grid spaces each for the 2 side. And you're once again doing rows. This will leave a lot of space for a to-do list, as well as a good amount of space for decoration as well. And this is the point in the setup that I realized that I had not as much of the text washi as I thought I did, but fortunately I have another one that's kind of a close match. It also has text on it. It says "Shine Bright, Dare to Dream," as well as some elements that match this theme quite well. So I'll be using that for the rest of this setup. That washi is from Michaels. If you have a Michaels around you, they might still actually have this washi. I think it's one of their staples. But because each of these rows is so long, I have just enough space that I can kind of decorate the edges again like I did in the last setup. And because I really didn't like how the day of the week sticker practice went, I've just gone in and I'm using the gold gel pen from Archer and Olive just to write the days of the week in and the numbers of the week. And we're just going to leave it nice and simple because trying to make it look like those stickers did not work out well. The last full weekly for August is the squares layout. This layout gives you 8 spaces on each page that you can then use in any way you'd like. I've picked to change some of the spaces into purely decoration, and then I've taken 2 of them on the right hand side to do the header for August. This one might be a little interesting to follow if you're actually using it, but I've used this one several times and I'm quite familiar with how I generally tend to set this one up. So having all of the days for half of the week on one side and then the other days for the other half of the week on the other side is how I typically will set this up, and it makes sense to my brain. But the bottom 2 boxes on the left hand side on the left are going to be for decoration, so the lines don't go all the way down on that side, so that I can fit in one of the big starry sky window stickers, as well as some smaller decorations for the rest of the pages. And of course you have to get all of your elements on the page, or as close to as all of your elements on the page as you can, to make sure your theme continues to theme. So I've got my Notebook Therapy moon phases. I've got the stickers that came on the sticker pages. I'm going to remember to do my days of the week before I forget where my decorations are supposed to go. So I've got Sunday, then Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, back and forth on the other side. And that just helped me remember where I actually wanted my planning, so then I could go in with some more decoration and try to decorate some of the other pages a little better. Very slightly breaking my own washi tape rule here by doing straight lines instead of ripping them. If you've been around for a while, you know I don't really like straight lines with my washi. I like them ripped at the edges, but for this particular setup, you kind of need some of the straight edges, but the ripped edges on the purple ones. I'm just going to add in a couple more decorations on this page, and then we'll move on to the last weekly for August. As mentioned, all of the days of a month, I like keeping them all together. So the very last 2 days for August are a Sunday and a Monday, and I need meal tracking for those as well. So I've got some big rectangles that are going to be floating in the middle of the page. Each of these rectangles is 12 dot grid spaces wide by 17 dot grid spaces tall. Each of these rectangles has 2 dot grid spaces sections off at the bottom in 3 rows. That is going to be for meal tracking. And it wouldn't be this setup unless I got the August header down as well. It was super shiny. This acrylograph gets a little clogged up with the glitter, so if you see me pushing off on the side there, that's because I'm trying to get it to, you know, give me more ink so that I can continue doing what I need to continue doing. But because I have so much space, there's only 2 days here, I can add lots of decorations. So I've got 2 of the Starry Sky window stickers, as well as a bunch of the washi. Just trying to work out the best use of my stickers now that I'm at the end of this setup, basically. I want to make sure that I'm not overloading the pages, but I also want to not have too many leftovers at the end of setting this up. So I'm going to put those down, and then I'm going to go back through the rest of this setup and add stickers where I think they're going to fit the best. I think there's overall, like, I've done a pretty good job of adding in the stickers and not making the pages too overwhelmed. I think there was a couple of spots that I maybe went a little overboard because I was just trying to use up the stickers. But in general, I think I did a good job of balancing the white space with the decoration. And the sticker tweezers really did help with placement of these. Just made it a little bit easier to kind of see what I was doing. As you can see, I'm trying really hard to balance the stickers with all the little ones that are left. Kind of going back and forth, trying to see where I can put these, where they're not going to overwhelm the theme too much. But in the end, I think I did a good job. So one last look at August in my journal. I really do love a Witchy Night theme. There's something so lovely about all of the elements to this theme. They kind of tied in really well together. I feel like it complements each other very well. I feel like the color palette really worked together. And I'm really hoping that August is going to bring a little bit better luck than July did for me. As well as some cooler weather, because it has been very hot where I live. But I'm very much looking forward to getting into these new pages and seeing what August has in store for me. Thank you all once again for watching. I hope you liked this setup video, and I will see you again next time.